Eye of a tiger makes you willing to fight. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Out here messing around the garage. Had to do a little work on the welder. The speed pot for the wire was acting weird. I've always had a little bit of trouble with it since Dad bought this thing like 20 years ago. And I tried everything, tried new wheels and different setups on the spool, all kinds of stuff. Still had no luck. But today it just absolutely took a crap on me. It would only feed like in one spot, so that told me that it was the potentiometer, or whatever you want to call it, the speed control. You take this off, take this everything out, take the electronics out of it. There's just two little pieces of brass that connect to the motor, and it varies the voltage going to the motor, varies the speed. Well, they were all corroded and nasty looking, and I took them apart, cleaned them up, took a little acetone on Q-tip, cleaned them up, and it still didn't fit just right, so I bent them out just a little bit, kind of cleaned them up with Scotch-Brite, and put it back together. Oh, and by the way, when you're working on electronic stuff, remember to unplug it, especially if you got something flammable in your hand like acetone. Nothing bad happened. It just, I threw the little container of acetone up in the air when I got the crap knocked out of me. Yeah, it works great. Reason I was out here welding, I'd found some spring perch brackets the other day, and this one here was cracked. It's still kind of hot, by the way. It was cracked right in this area on either side, so I went ahead and welded it up. It's not to fit my car. They came from 71 or 2 351 Cleveland Mach 1. I don't know if it was a 2-barrel or what it was, but I had bought the car for parts. Been sitting in the field. I cut bits and pieces off of it and sold the differential, and it was basically rotted out up to the almost the door handles on that thing, so wasn't a whole lot left, but I got a few bucks out of the differential and got some bits and pieces like that. I figure I'm gonna put them on eBay and sell them, and I'll make sure to specify that I did repair that one. I mean, they're not perfect anyways. Yeah, that'd be good for a daily driver, or somebody wants some pieces for a hot rod or something. This is the other one. Got it, cleaned it up and painted. Looking pretty decent. They were pretty rusted. I wasn't sure they'd be able to be saved. But I soaked them in my hydrochloric acid bath. And by the way, I don't know if you can tell on these, this is what that stuff does. I mean, it cleans that up pretty good. These pliers, I used them to clamp together a couple pieces of wood. That's been sitting there in about a half an hour. I clamped pieces of wood together. It was on a fence until the glue set up, like construction adhesive, and forgot about them. They've been sitting outside for about 2 years. So they still work good because I always keep the joints and stuff lubricated with anti-seize. I figured I'd stick them in there and see what that does. They're coming out pretty good. Clean them up, throw a little oil on them, should be alright. That brings me to another pretty good point. Anti-seize. A lot of people use different things on motorcycle cables. They've got the oilers. I've got one somewhere. It clamps on. You loosen everything up, you clamp it on, you spray oil in there, and it's supposed to inject oil down into the sleeve and whatnot. Well, I got hold of a new old stock clutch cable for the old Guzzi here. And by the way, didn't I just do a video on cleaning this garage out a few weeks ago? But yeah, the cables, I had lubed it up with anti-seize. It's what I always have used for, I don't know, 20 years. The guy that had this bike before I got it had, in like 2 or 3 years time, he had broken 2 or 3 clutch cables, one a year. And shortly after I got the bike, I broke another one. So I got to looking at it, and they were just dry. I mean, he had used absolutely no lubrication on them at all. And I had got a new clutch cable, lubed it up like I normally would, put it on here, and that was in 2007, and it's still in really good shape. Still works great. Knock on wood. Hasn't broke on me yet. Haven't had to really adjust it or do much anything to it. So if you guys do anything with cables, anything like that, it's a little messy. You know, anti-seize is meant to go in pretty tight places. And what I do is shoot, I don't know if I got any cables laying around. Anyways, what I do is I put it on the slack portion, and I'll go push it in. Here we go, the old throttle cables off the Goose. I'll put it on the slack portion, and I'll work it in, and I'll spin either the sheathing or the cable itself and get it to work. You know, the cable's twisted like a drill bit, so you can spin it, and it'll work that anti-seize down in there. And oils and stuff set up over time get sticky and icky and all kinds of stuff. And the anti-seize, see, I've got an old jug here. This jug here is about 14 years old, and I've since lost the cap. The brush broke off in the cap. You know, this is like 14 years old, and it's still hasn't set up. So I mean, it's pretty good stuff. Anyways, I think I'm going to get this mess cleaned up, upload this video. It's about 9 minutes worth of nothing here. Hope you guys have a good evening. And remember, when you're working on electronic devices, please unplug them. Alright, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.